Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to
Today
our
we're
channel.
watching Mushoku Tensei, Season 2, Episode 2. Last episode was really good.
Yep.
Yeah. The last scene was like, I don't know. The last episode was really good. I'm really excited to watch more of this season.
This season, honestly has had a really great start.
Yeah.
I am really appreciating it. Really came right out the gate amazing. They started in a really great place. They have a really great setup right now for Rudy's character. Really curious about Sylphie and when Sylphie might enter the picture, reunite with Rudy. We're in a good place.
Yeah, curious about Sarah and Counter Arrow.
And not saving Zenith anymore because now Sarah, so replacement.
Ready? Sweet.
Just on a nice little jog.
What?
He named his knees?
You have it?
Holy fuck.
Rudy training arc. That makes sense.
Oh, now, okay, it makes sense now that he's naming them.
Rudy's growing up.
I'm glad it has like an official sacred home.
You need one.
They're gonna die.
Quagmire. You can't just like bring those out in public. His hair's growing a little bit. I love this song.
So he's taking like literally any job possible. Maybe more focused on jobs that'll appease the townsfolk.
Yeah. Cool. I love the red around his eyes because it's cold, you know?
Building renown with connection and people liking you, trusting in you. Look at that smile. I wonder if she finds his job choice odd because he's so capable.
I love her earrings. They're so cool. Big for Sarah to be the one to ask, though.
She totally wanted to be the first one to ask.
Whoa. So cool. Wow. Yes.
Ooh, it's like a scale.
Snow Drake scales.
I really want to see what they look like.
Yeah, me too.
スノードレイクとの戦闘になったら大変だが、ここはあくまで奴らの通り道。隠れてやり過ごせばいいだけなんだが。 れにしてもあの像どこかで見たことある気が。さすがに捏造しすぎじゃないか。
なんだ、嫌な予感がするっす。
I also have a bad feeling.
Whoa.
But I can just climb
Nice
that
wall.
wall.
It heard you.
I'm sorry, I
Stop
gave
giving
the
them
tip.
ideas.
Nice, using the landscape
You've
to your
thwarted them.
advantage. Whew, got to a better vantage point. Did he think they left him?
God.
I bet the scales are nice armor for them, though.
Oh, shit.
This isn't even your job. Isn't there, like, laws to that?
Tried to swipe our prey?
内容はイルブロン洞窟に大量発生したスノードレイクの群れの討伐。ここはガルガウ遺跡だよ。
スザンヌ、落ち着きなさい。サラも弓を下ろして。なるほど。イルブロン洞窟とこのガルガウ遺跡の。
Ah.
いきなり殴ったの悪かったな。
Okay, maybe he doesn't suck.
誤解していたなら仕方ないでしょう。
あんたもさ、たまには打ち上げに参加しない？
Never does.
それじゃ、乾杯。乾杯。
Sarah wants him around, for
Yeah.
sure.
ですかね。皆さんに助けられた感じですが。それも含めてさ、普通のパーティーだったら見殺しにするところだから感謝しています。別に。そんなこと言って。
And she shot the first.
あんたじゃないか。ちょっとスザンヌやめてよ。あんたには前の時にも世話になったし。その借りを返したかっただけ。私はね、人に借りを作るのが嫌なの。
She's like, don't look at me when I'm blushing.
なんなんだよな。ちょっとギルドで一番強いからって調子に乗って。
Toughest party.
急にこもってろってんだ。
Damn labyrinths. Did you?
もしかするとパウロの若い頃もあんな感じだったのだ。
We're like, are we super close to Zenith?
Yeah, have to be. He does kind of remind me of Paul a bit, right?
Gross. Is he
Just
a
like Paul.
softie when he... Sarah's
face.
disgusted. Disgusted.
こいつはいいが、てめえは最悪だ。てめえは笑えてると思ってるかもしれねえけど笑えてねえんだよ。他人を見下してんだよ。何様のつもりだ。おいゾル、何があったか知らねえが後ろ向きだ。出やがんだよ。俺はそういうクソガキを見るのが大嫌いなんだ。
Holy shit.
叫んな。なんだよその態度は。おい泥沼、てめえ生きてて楽しいのかよ。えんならさっさと死ね。目障りなんだよクソが。
Are we gonna have like a grown-up conversation?
目的あってのことですから。
何が目的だよ。お前やることが中途半端なんだよ。
There really is a good portion of him that really does remind me of Paul, you know?
何かありましたか？
ミミルとサラがな。
死んだよ。そうですか。
いや、ミミルはともかく、サラははぐれただけです。今からでも探しに行けばまだ。
こんな吹雪の中行ったって全滅するだけさ。ちなみにどこではぐれたんですか？
And she was the first one to come in and protect him. There's no way we're gonna end up like teaming up with that guy, right? To save her.
Oh.
どうすれば俺は満足できる？そりゃ自分のやり方でサラを見つけた時だ。そのサラが生きていようが死んでいようが関係ない。あるいは他人を見捨てないという選択を
Choose not to turn my back on someone.
エリスに捨てられた俺だから、それだけなのかもしれない。
Jesus!
でどうする？わからない。
Is he gonna bring back something? The earring.
Oh shit.
What the? The trees are
This
monsters too?
animation. Whoa. The mirror. Gave her his jacket.
The other way around. Oh gosh.
Hell yeah, he did.
そんな無茶してあんたまで死んだらどうするつもりだったんだ。ちょっとザンヌ、そんな言い方はないでしょ。サラを助けてくれてありがとうって言わなきゃいけなかったね。
ルーデウス、本当にありがとう。
僕もあなた方には何かと助けてもらってますので。
それは本心だ。俺はなんだかんだ言ってカウンターアローの面々に。
だからこれで貸し借りなしということにしましょう。ルーデウス、じゃあまた。今日はゆっくり休んでください。
Keep the jacket. Oh.
Freaking love when characters say something and,
we
doesn't tell
just
you
don't
what.
know. Yep.
Marks the beginning and end to every day.
今日は久しぶりに深く眠れそうだ。
But that's also an ominous thing to say.
Okay, that was Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Episode 2. What a good episode.
I love Sarah's character.
Yeah.
I love that we open the episode off with this idea that she definitely was like looking for him first. Like, I know she was waiting there and he just happened to pass and she brought up that they were taking a job, but we know that she was watching like a couple minutes earlier at what he was doing in like what I assume is like a town square. That she must have been looking for him in order to tell him about this job.
Yeah.
She definitely wants him around.
I really like Sarah's character, but and like part of the reason is because I love archers. Like, that's like my favorite class or whatever, and you know, worlds like this. But I don't even want to just say like I love Sarah, because the entire like the entire group, right, of like and Counter Arrow, like all of them.
It's
I
homey
love
and comfortable.
I love their addition to the story. I think it's so smart that I think that Rudy, like having Rudy say what I feel is so rewarding. Like when Rudy's like, I didn't even feel like I saved Sarah here. I feel like Sarah did more to save me. You know,
Yeah,
saving
I
her
wrote that
saved
down.
me. And then
I rescued her and it felt like the other way around.
yeah, and then what he said to I think his name's Timothy, right? About how he feels like they're even now. Like I feel like that as a viewer after what Rudy has been through at the end of last season, especially. Like I feel like Rudy is being saved and being built up again, and really finding himself and his motive in this world, and like sorting through those emotions.
Yeah, I find it really interesting in terms of writing the story. Normally, a story, if they're choosing a cast of characters or dynamic for characters to have, it's normally like family or like found family.
Yeah.
And this story has like both. They have like multiple groups of like finding your place, your comfort, your people that can support you and that you look up to, that advise you, that you cry on their shoulders, but also the like people that you're bonded to by blood and by birth, and caring for them, you know, for reasons like that, because they are your literal family and you're looking for them and you're trying to save them and protect them. And then along the way, you're finding almost more, I wouldn't even consider these people like you're finding more friends to help you along the way, because it really feels like you're finding family members.
Yeah.
You're like adding people to your family that are helping you find your original family, your
Yeah. Well,
nuclear family, you know.
so I want to like go off a bit to just talk about Soul, right? Because I don't think I would have had the confidence to say what I'm about to say unless Rudy did it for me, which was the comparison of like, I wonder if Paul was like this. So what this episode did for me with how Soul was talking, and then if I put myself back into the perspective of how I felt when Rudy first re-encountered Paul, right? And the conversations that they had, I had so much like deja vu and nostalgia
Agreed.
in the language that Soul was using towards Rudy, because it
And
felt
what was pissing him off about Rudy?
it
was
felt
almost
very similar to what Paul was saying to Rudy about like after seeing Rudy's just like excitement and happiness, and Paul was like, oh, you're just living an easy life, you're just out there having fun.
And we always quote the line of, would you have rather he come back like a missing a part of himself,
A
like
dead-eyed son? Yeah.
And it's like always his eyes and his expressions that is a parallel to that was what was bothering Paul, was not only the way that he was speaking, but almost that it looked like he hadn't been through anything. Like Paul had literal circles under his eyes. It was worn on his face what he was going through. And Rudy came in like fresh as a daisy.
Yeah.
Talking all excited. Obviously it pissed Paul off. And like here, it's also Rudy's expressions and how Rudy's handling himself and talking to people and the way he's presenting himself that is bothering this person.
Yeah. And I think that Soul is acting as like a great through line to get us back on track for a mission like Zenith, just like that conversation with Paul did.
I'd
and
agree.
And we can't just ignore the key word we got here, labyrinth, right? We know.
I didn't even my mind didn't even click it, and then you went labyrinth. Then I was like, oh wait. It's like once you said it, I was like, oh shit. I just that completely passed me by as what it actually means.
Yeah.
And how substantial the mention of that actually is. I think that this Soul guy, he's definitely staying. I think he's definitely staying in the story. I wasn't sure about this the arrows, the counter arrow squad.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about them staying in the story, but I feel like Soul is too good of a device to pass up when we know that he fights and normally works in the labyrinths.
Yeah.
And also he has a relationship parallel of Paul to Rudy. It'd be nice.
So I don't have my I'm in the process of switching notebooks, but so I could be butchering the name here, but I think it's the idea of it that's most important, where we had the idea that Zenith was somewhere, again, apologies, but Begarat or Begarit in the Labyrinth City.
Mm-hmm.
And that is great to hear the keyword labyrinth, but it's also so genius with the writing that they're using here, because Anna, who told Roxy where Zenith was?
Kishirika.
Whose statue did we get this episode?
Kishirika.
It's just, I don't know. It's just so fulfilling.
You know what also, like, feels fulfilling and makes sense now? I was like, why can't Kishirika see Zenith? Like, actually, what? And to know that we are in an area, like, of magic, that the magic is the focus of these 3 main cities that we got mentioned, barriers in place. Like, if there's already, like, high level of magic items, magic cities that are studying magic, it totally makes sense that there would be something that could block Kishirika from seeing Zenith. Like, I took it as, like, maybe that means Zenith is in, like, major trouble.
Yeah.
But I don't know anymore now that I know that this is, like, the magic's involved. Like, does Zenith need to be in, like, lots and lots of trouble? Probably, for not having come to find her family.
Yeah. But I have a question for you, actually. Let me just get to it now. If we get intel about Zenith and where she is currently or being held currently, whatever situation she's in, does Rudy ask for help? Like, so we know, like, I'm not saying Rudy needs it by any means. Rudy's so fucking strong and he's so capable and, like, and like, enough said, right? But at that point, like, I don't imagine Rudy right out the gate asking for help, but if he's met with the idea that Zenith could be in a very dangerous situation, do you call your banners? Do you call Paul? Do you try to reach out to Paul or Roxy, or you get, Eris and Ruijerd back in for, like, a mission? Or, like we said, would that do a disservice to the characters that are Eris and Ruijerd? It's a weird line for me to walk, because on one hand, you'd almost be like, well, Ruijerd and Eris would be pissed if Rudy didn't ask for help in an important situation. But at the same time, narratively,
they'd be pissed. I mean, there's boundaries that Eris has set, at least, of when to have contact and when to be in each other's lives again. I
know, but I think that, like, if Eris ever needed help or Ruijerd ever needed help, they'd want to be able to reach out to each other for it. I'm not, like, and I'm wondering, like, weight-wise, what would that do to the narrative? Like, if that ever came to be.
For the narrative's sake, I couldn't see necessarily bringing those characters in before it feels like it's their time, especially if we're being given players and banners, as you said, to call upon devices. A literal person who says, like, I don't need to know your reasons, that we know has fought in the labyrinths before, is being very judgmental of Rudy's look and feels like he doesn't need to know why Rudy acts the way that he does. That is a complete, like, little push in there of, like, oh, but you might be a person that finds out what Rudy's been trying to do and helping him accomplish it, because you're identifying that you don't care about his reason for the way that he is or the way that he's acting. And we also know from this episode that we're done with owing each other with the counter arrows. So now there's this wiggle room for the viewer of, like, oh, if we're done with, like, we don't owe each other anything, then could we actually ask them for help? And I think it's, like, to put the viewer in this place of, like, who could Rudy actually call on? Who would actually come help him when there's, like, no debts to be paid on the line?
Yeah, well, and that's why I brought up people that weren't necessarily indebted to Rudy, but people who cared about him and would, like...
Yes, and so Rudy might think that because no one is indebted to him, he couldn't possibly ask, or they wouldn't help. But what has he been doing all episode? He's been slowly, like, not taking money from people. He has been building this fabulous relationship with the people of this town and with a lot of people that are in different guilds and with this team, the Counter Arrows in themselves, that he has just become a person that they care about. Everyone knows his name. He's known to be doing kind things and not an evil person, and he has created himself the space and the room for people to just wish to help him because he's him.
Yeah. I I'm so fascinated by what is going to be that link, right? Because obviously we have Soul, and his character with Labyrinths is like is totally viable to give us that information, but what would it look like? Like Rudy bringing up the name Zenith and that rings a bell, like, or just like faded tales of the most beautiful woman in this entire anime being somewhere, and like that's enough for us to all go by, since it's a consensus that we all agree with, you know.
Paul would be so proud of Rudy, like, oh, you got one that looks just like your mom. I think Paul would be happy about that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little creepy too, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Paul's a guy.
Paul is a guy.
Yeah.
That's true.
I absolutely adored getting to see the Galgo ruins and getting to know that they were built during the first human-demon war. Like, are you a fan of architecture? Like, God,
yes,
it's so cool.
We are. I really liked that setting, because then, if anything, that setting opens up more excitement to whatever these labyrinths might look like.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, set design.
I just love, like, the depth of the world. It could have just been a fucking cave, right?
Yeah, why did it have to have, like, a carved sculpture of Kishirika?
But thematically, it connecting to, like, it being the place that it was and having a statue that reminded Rudy of Kishirika that also connected with the labyrinth, the soul, like, it's so well written, man. Yeah. Like, it's so cool.
This has definitely been one of the best, like, kind of opening momentum get into a new season of a show, of, like, just really hitting with story progression and aging your character, but also making sure you call upon the previous season enough where it seems supernatural, but not like you're, like, trying too hard to, like, remind the viewer about everything.
Yeah.
Like, you're not treating the viewer like they're dumb.
Yeah. And like, just one more time, like, the you know, the language that Soul was using, that grin of yours makes me think, maybe you think that's a smile, but it ain't. Your eyes are always looking down on people. Who do you think you are? Well, and then let's go. He look like he thinks no one's got it worse than him. It's literally like the opposite side of the coin to what happened, the conversation with Paul was, right? Like, it's like almost like Rudy's like, well, what am I supposed to fucking do?
And it's
like,
so, like,
am I supposed to look miserable? Like,
and
that's
it's so weird
what
to be
people
getting
wanted me
to get this, like, parallel to, like, Paul and Paul's feelings after so much, like, growth and or change of Rudy's character since that interaction with Paul. It really, like, brings up it's a really nice reminder of, like, people don't just change. People don't just become a different person immediately. If you have faults, if you have bad qualities where maybe you tend to be depressed or stay in your head thinking like you got it really hard and not, like, waking up with the will to, like, survive and live, then that's not something that you're just going to get over, and it's not going to come back whenever push comes to shove. Like, it might seep back in because you're a character, and it's not just, you're a person, and it's not just gonna, like, go away. The things that have been hard for you to overcome are always gonna be there still.
Yeah.
They could creep up on you.
Dude, this is what a good start to the season. Like, we had great story, great writing, like, everything was, like, firing on all cylinders. We had a great, like, fighting sequence too. When Rudy jumped over, like, when he was trying to save Sarah, there was some like subtle animation for what he was doing magic wise that was so neat. Like, he jumped over and it seemed like he used the ground to, like, build some sort of platform with stability behind it for footing that he would, like, use to propel himself off of to jump. You see? Yeah. He's like an earthbender, right?
Do you ever wonder what Toph would think of Rudy? Would they get along?
I never wonder that, but now I will forever wonder that. But it's just great animation, you know? I love seeing Rudy in action and what he's capable of. I love all the impact scenes when everything goes black and white and it's all happening so quick.
And on the emotional side, I love when he gets shown time and time again of the beauty of people, the beauty of connections, the beauty of choosing things for yourself and choosing to live and choosing to thrive.
Yeah.
And having care for people can come back and help you tenfold, and you feel like they're rescuing you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Quagmire.
I was so confused at first. I was like, is he not giving people his real name when he's doing all these things?
Good episode.
They faked me out on that.
Rest in peace, Mimir.
Yes.
You'll never be forgotten. Never. I wrote their name down in my notebook.
Like R.I.P.
Mm-hmm. You know what's crazy? Like, the reaction that the guild had
to them being missing and Mimir being dead.
It makes you feel like it's just such like a normal thing in this world, and that's so crazy. It's like a great feeling to convey that, like, in a story like this, to like let us know as the audience, like shit, oh, they're dead. Like, it's just like, what do you do?
It's also really interesting when you have that at the end, but then you know that at the beginning, for a second, Rudy thinks that they did leave and they did abandon him, and then who is the one that actually like probably pushes the others to act, which is Sarah jumping into action there.
You're so right.
Like, would they really have left and run and been like, we don't know, we got separated from Rudy? Would they have had a very similar conversation to someone else?
Yeah. Good episode.
It was.
You good?
Yes.
Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.